Welcome everybody to a Formula 1 video again. I am SamuraiT-X and The Last of Us Part 2 will not be uploaded today. We are taking a break from that. We're going to drive another classic car on a Sunday once again. In the previous video we drove the 1991 Jordan. Now we're going to drive Michael Schumacher's World Championship car. The first one anyway. The 1994 Benetton B194. The 1994 season was marred by one dark weekend and a lot of controversy. We will address those as we drive around the track, but well, let's talk about the dark weekend first, because 1994 will always be known for that. So it was San Marino in 1994. The weekend did start off, unfortunately, with the death of Roland Ratzenberger, and then on Sunday, Ayrton Senna was the next casualty. And I believe also during that race weekend, Barrichello actually had a serious injury as well on him. So 3 serious incidents happened on that very dark weekend of F1, that the safety precautions and everything else changed during the season, so that that casualties would never happen again. We're going to be racing around Bahrain. I'm not really good, so I'll tell you that for sure about the driving. I will increase the difficulty to 62 because 60, I've played a little bit of it, and 60 was a bit too easy for me. So yeah, we're going to be playing on 62. But yeah, we're going to be racing around Bahrain, and 1994, I will talk about the history once all of this is done. I'm only going to do 3 laps because it's shorter, and we're only going to review the car.
It's race day and our drivers are all out on the grid performing their final checks before we get underway here at the Bahrain International Circuit. We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Cheers, Jeff. Alright, so like we said, it's time. Look at that wheel. It's telling us we're in P10, so that's a good thing. But yeah, here we go. I think it's time to talk about some controversies. Speaking of Benetton, because they were filled with a lot of them. We're going to start with race 8 of the 1994 season, which was in Silverstone. And this was the race that actually Michael Schumacher was given that 2-race ban. After lap 33, yeah, I believe in lap 33, Schumacher, and for lap 33 onwards, Michael Schumacher actually ignored the not red flags, you silly, black flags. Michael Schumacher got disqualified for ignoring the black flags, but he still kept going, so he was handed a 2-race ban. But that 2-race ban did not happen until race 12, which is Italy. So Italy and Portugal, Michael Schumacher did serve those bans because Benetton did appeal and they lost. But we're not finished with the controversy there in terms of Benetton. But that was Michael Schumacher's ban because he ignored black flags, so he got a 2-race ban. Benetton tried to appeal during those races in between and they lost. So Michael Schumacher had to serve those 2-race bans, and he was replaced by JJ Leto, who was a Finnish driver. I think he was from Finland anyway, but yeah, Michael Schumacher was banned for 2 races and replaced by JJ Leto in Monza and Portugal, Estoril. But there was another incident with Benetton. They were cleared of it though, but Jos Verstappen entered the pit lane in Germany in race 9, and Benetton were accused of tampering with the hose, the fuel hose. So once they were fueling Jos Verstappen's car, lo and behold, mechanics and Jos Verstappen himself were on fire. And of course there was an investigation for Benetton, and they won that case, and everything was dropped. But that was one of Benetton's many issues that season. Benetton really were a bunch of naughty boys in 1994. Everybody had some sort of complaints with Benetton then, but those two were the most famous incidents. Until we get to Adelaide. Yes, you probably have heard this story before, but I'm still gonna tell it because it's the final race, round 16, in Adelaide, Australia. No, not Albert Park. These races were mostly decided in Adelaide. They didn't move to Albert Park until 1996. 1995 was the last race in Adelaide, and man do I miss that track. But let's talk about Adelaide 1994. So, with the World Championship yet to be decided after Damon Hill closed the championship gap down to 1 point. Once upon a time, Michael Schumacher actually led this championship by 33 points, but the race ban didn't help his cause, so Damon Hill chopped away at that lead, and yes, Damon Hill was 1 point behind, so we get to race day. And Michael Schumacher was in front of Damon Hill, but then he made a mistake, so by making that mistake, Damon Hill was alert by it, and Schumacher did have damage with the car, so Damon Hill did try to pass him at a corner, and Michael Schumacher shut the door on him, and Michael Schumacher went flying in the air and off the track. That was his retirement done. Got out the car. He just waited in the crowd, in the stands, just waited for Damon Hill to go around. Damon Hill went in the pit lane, and unfortunately for him, his wishbone was damaged, and when you have a damaged wishbone in Formula 1, your race is all but over. So Damon Hill was spent at least 30 seconds checking that car, and Damon Hill was sitting in the car and he was shaking his head. The wishbone was damaged, so yeah. When Michael Schumacher did not see Damon Hill go round and round and round, he knew that he won the championship, and he was obviously smiling, but every other fan was not, unless you were a Michael Schumacher fan. Me, I didn't know what to think because I was only 4 years old, so I just thought, my goodness, crashing, you know. Just little child me just thought, wow, crashes. But yeah. Murray Walker said once that Michael Schumacher and Hill, that whole thing was a racing incident. But let's be honest, people. We all know what it was. As much as I love Michael Schumacher, and I really do, we all know he did it on purpose. Because if Damon Hill overtook him, that's the championship gone. Done. He would have lost the championship because Damon Hill would have been in front of him. Michael Schumacher had damage, and he likely would have had to retire the car. So Damon Hill's championship was right there. Could Damon Hill have waited another on the straight that was next after that turn? Yes, but you know, when someone makes a mistake, you want to pounce on them immediately, and you get impatient, especially if it's your first attempt at winning a world championship. So yeah, Michael Schumacher won that by 1 point. And 1995, of course, we'll get onto that later that season, but Michael Schumacher did win that again, dominantly. Well, 94 he didn't win dominantly, but 95 he did. Good drive, actually. I got 5th place in this car. Much better to drive than the Jordan.
Incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
Alright, so I'm going to give my review about this car. Enough F1 history for now, but I thought I could talk about it while you saw gameplay in the background. But I'm really enjoying this game a lot. And that 1994 Benetton, much easier to drive than the Jordan. I found the Jordan a bit difficult. I was always locking my brakes, so yeah, you always saw the brakes smoking every time I was braking in the Jordan. The Benetton car is much easier to drive, but I wasn't catching the McLaren 98 or the 92 Williams. Them two cars are way too fast. I'm not saying the Benetton 94 isn't fast, but you know, the Williams 92 is in a different league, and so was that McLaren in 98. So I wasn't going to catch those. I think if I put up the difficulty, I would have been overtaken pretty much by the 1996 Williams as well. But I did produce enough of a gap. But I'm pretty pleased with the Benetton 94, and I'm looking forward to driving the 95 Benetton, because that car was on another level of fast when I was watching F1, and a pretty dominant car. Even though, to be honest with you, it didn't help in 95 that Williams was terrible in terms of their reliability, and Damon Hill just being very careless, actually. And DC himself, actually. Yes, Mr. DC. He was actually... Just a quick one. DC actually had a contract fight between McLaren and Williams, so he did sign the deal with McLaren, not thinking that he would not get the drive with Williams. And David Coulthard actually had to serve 1995 as a Williams driver before changing to McLaren in 1996. So there's your another quick trivia. I'll be filled with a lot of those next week, because yeah, I'm going to be continuing The Last of Us in from Monday to Saturday, and then next week I'm going to be driving the Benetton 1995 and Michael Schumacher's other cars. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the little history lesson. I shall see you tomorrow for another episode of The Last of Us. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.